Allan and I were in high school for a huge part of our high school days, from S1 to S4, and even after that. And during that time, we were in the band from S2 to S4 actually. And they used to encourage us to write, our own songs. So we came with that background, and even after S4, we kept in touch. So when we finished our, S6 exams, I remember we used to hang out with a mutual friend of ours, and we were all music lovers. We just used to like jamming. And one time I was just like, hey, can we write a song? Because he was producing at the time already, and he had been in studio, and he had, I think, a project out. So I wanted to have that experience as well.
I'm from a beautiful place, the Pearl of Africa, hailing with a 256. It's in my blood, that's a gem where the mountains rise, with stories untold, the tapestry of cultures unfolding, so vibrant and bold, a symphony of stars, a celestial light, the drums beating, echoing through the night, just like a beacon of light, a reflection that's coming up from the Nile. I'm flowing straight into the heart of Africa with timeless stories untold. What's up, Doug?
5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Welcome once again to the Ugandan Boy Talk Show, on a podcast where I bring guests, celebrities, famous people, regular people, anybody in the world, and who wants to come on here to share their stories, their journey, laugh together, have a good time. And today I'm very honored to have the one and only Lilly Ahabwe. A lot of you people actually might know Lilly, but you might not know Lilly. And with this podcast, you're going to know who Lilly is, and you're going to find out that you actually know Lilly, but you might not know her. Lilly is a singer-songwriter from Kampala, Uganda. Her sound focuses on the thoughtful and soulful lyrics. Her music carries influences of modern R&B and soul, as well as Western and East African pop styles. Lilly first came onto the scene with the release of Beera Nange with Allan Toniks in 2007. And she has since then released her debut album, Freedonia, in 2020. And as of 2023, she has had 3 singles with Under Music, Timothy Dylan, and Unity Original. So with that introduction, some of you have already found out that you actually know who Lilly is. Lilly, welcome to my podcast.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So with that introduction, a lot of people, like when I said, people might know you, but they also might not know who you are. Because like a lot of people know the song Beera Nange. And with that, just a mention of that, I was like, oh yeah. And you actually, it's on your Instagram, you say that girl from Beera Nange. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing good.
Yeah.
I can't complain, making music, enjoying life. Yeah.
That's amazing.
How are you doing?
I'm doing, actually, that's funny because a lot of people don't think about to ask me back how I am doing. So that's crazy. They just roll with it. I'm good. I'm doing good. I was just about to say that I want to do an official apology. I know I apologize to you behind the scene, but to my listeners and people who tune into this podcast, I respect people's time and I want also to be respected. And today we had some technical difficulties behind the scene that we delayed a little bit, but we're here and we're about to give you a good conversation with Lilly. Excited to have a conversation with her, get to know her a little bit, her music, her journey, and it's exciting. We already talked about that girl from the Beera Nange song. I want to kick off with actually the good news about your song that you did with Acclaimed, I think that's his name, that was nominated for a collaboration of the year.
Yes, Hip Hop Awards.
Talk to us about that. How did the song get nominated? Why are you excited? And when is the voting? And what do we have to do as fans of music?
Yeah, I just found out it actually got nominated last week. The song is called Body Re-Up. It's actually a remix of a song that Script had done before. But he called me and another colleague of ours called Unity Original to do, to just feature on the song. So we featured... I wrote a verse on the song, and I just found out last week, he just called me up and was like, oh, our song was nominated for Collab of the Year for the Hip Hop Awards this year. So yeah, I don't even know how that happened, but somehow it happened, which is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're excited. We're excited. We really loved this song when we first did it in studio. We enjoyed it so much. It has I love how it has different like energies. There's the rap and hip hop element, and there's my R&B element, and then Unity has like a dancehall vibe. So it's a really cool vibe.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting song. You can vote for the song under that category. It's in my link in bio. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll find it in my link tree.
When does voting end? Do you know?
It's still ongoing because the awards are in December.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know when it's going to end, but it's still open.
So vote.
Yeah.
I just wanted to kick that out of the way before even we go into everything, because I respect that. I respect like someone getting rewarded of their hard work. And like before everything, before the conversation, the question I want to ask you, I'm just proud to see that because of somebody's journey, they get rewarded. I've been rewarded for my podcast and I take those serious. I'm thankful. When you get an award, it's a signature to show that you're doing something right and you're appreciated and you're seen. So I really take pride in that, and that's why I put it as number one, to just kick that out of the way. And so the listeners, even when they're tuning in for the first time, they just you can pause this and go vote and come back and finish it.
Well, thank you.
On this podcast, I do different segments. My first segment is to get to know my guests a little bit more before even I ask them a lot of questions. And this segment is called This or That. I have questions that I ask you.
Yeah.
You have to choose one. You can choose to explain more of why you're choosing that, or you can choose not to. It's like, that's my answer. Go on. Or if you want to talk more about it, you can talk more about it. This or that questions for
cool.
Lilly. R&B or Afrobeat?
Yeah. R&B.
I think I need to choose
R&B.
R&B.
I just love R&B. Yeah, Afrobeat is fun, but R&B is like the thing I always go to. I grew up listening to R&B music. It's the thing that made me want to sing. You know, it's a genre that has always influenced me. I enjoy all kinds of genres, but I always go back to, R&B. I grew up listening to Mariah Carey, Whitney, all the greats, I love how expressive R&B is. It's a very expressive genre, and I'm a very passionate person. I love love.
Yeah.
And R&B is a great language to express that. So yeah, R&B any day.
I think on your Instagram, actually, you have your top 5 songs of, was it top 5 R&B or top 5 songs? There's somewhere I saw you chose, there's a clip, and then you selected your top 5.
Oh, yeah.
Do you still remember those songs?
It was, I think at the time I was doing a weekly, my top weekly songs. Yeah. I think I had No Money on that, some song called, No Money. I don't remember what song it was though. I had,
Kelani, I think.
Gosh, who did, I think yes, Kelani.
I remember Kelani. Did you had is it?
I just don't remember.
Ilama, what's her name?
Elijah Chitaka is probably there.
Okay.
There's probably Elijah Chitaka. Ella May, maybe.
That's the name. That's the name I was trying to remember. Ella May. Yeah. So I remember a few too, but I'm not vividly. But I like Kelani and Ella May. I'm a big R&B fan. I love hip hop. No, I love Afrobeat.
Yeah.
But I'm big on R&B. There's a mood that R&B puts me in, and just a vibe, and
exactly. Yeah, I like R&B is a vibe. It's a vibe. It's just it's moody music, and I love music that sets an ambience.
I was talking to Liko Banji in an episode that's on the podcast, and we were talking about how they no longer make R&B like they used to make them back in the day. Like that R&B in the 2000s, like that would hit like really, really good.
Yeah.
I mean, today's R&B is still good.
Yeah.
But like that R&B, you listen to those songs, you're like, yes.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm a huge fan of the 2000s era. I think some of the best music that has ever existed was created in that era, and they just don't make them like they used to. I mean, even if you go to the bars now, they're always playing that music, and I think there's a reason why they play that music. It's just classics. They're classics. Yeah. So I agree.
Writing lyrics or performing live?
This is a hard one. Performing live. I love the energy that I get in front of the crowd. Like, I feel like I really like to be in the studio. I really like to write songs. That's a very fun process. But there's something about just being in front of people and singing and connecting with them face to face. Like the song, even when you already have a song that's recorded and done, the way you sing it live is totally different. Like the energy is completely different. And I just love that. I love to connect one-on-one with people. So yeah,
I think writing is fun, but I personally, I don't like to write because it makes me think hard. And sometimes when I think hard, my brain hurts or my head hurts.
Yeah.
So like I saw one of your
I get what you're saying.
I saw one of your notebooks when you're writing a song on your Instagram. Like you had things crossed out and like you cross out, you rewrite that. It's fun to create that, but actually more fun when you're performing it after everything is done. But like the writing process, so I see why I would choose that.
I had a friend, we were working in studio one time and he was writing his verse and he was so stressed out and he kept saying, my brain is bleeding. So it's like, and I just kept laughing because I understood it was such a perfect analogy. Like it's such, sometimes writing a song comes very easily to you. Other times you struggle a little bit, but I don't know. Being on stage is easier.
Yeah, definitely. Studio session at night or in the morning?
Ooh, I used to be a morning person, but these days I love night studio sessions. Turns out I'm a night owl. Like that's when I come alive. And there's like a vibe. Like I think there's something about the nighttime that's just, I don't know, that just adds something. I don't know, about because it's quiet or something. It's quieter. There's less noise. So yeah, night studio session.
Collaborations or solo projects?
Collaborations. I used to be a solo type of girl, but this last year, 2023 and this year, I've done a bunch of collaborations and I've enjoyed making music a lot more than I did when I was writing and making music by myself. Like you get to meet people, you get to feed off of each other's energy, learn things that maybe you would not know otherwise. So I like collaborating. I think it's just more fun. I like collaborations. So like not even just in music, but I have this saying that I say collaboration over competition. Yeah, I know it's not in the context of what we're talking about, but any day, anytime collaboration, like feeding off another person, like doing something with another person, it feels like good really to just see both of you guys coming together on a project. And it's like, man, we did it. Like you put all your differences aside and just see what you can do together. Exactly. And it's just interesting because everyone has different ways in which they see something or approach a project. So it's always interesting to kind of see those energies kind of, mix and match. That's an introductory this or that for me to just get to know you and my listeners to just get to know a little bit of you. And some of the things you've touched on actually are going to come back in the conversation. But this segment is where we dive into your journey, your music career, you as a person. And there's no other place to start with than starting with the song Beera Nange. Beera Nange with Allan Toniks was such a beautiful introduction song to your music journey. Can you tell us about this collaboration, like how it came to life and the impact it had to your career? And before you answer that question, I want to tell you a short story. That song came about obviously when I was in high school. And there's the songs where people used to write notes, dedicate, Beera Nange, dedication, like that. Like people, we loved that song. We really loved the song. And when, I didn't even mention this, but when Andy connected me to you, was like, hey, you need to sit down and have a conversation with her. She was actually the one who sang with Toniks and Beera Nange. It's like, really? And I was like so excited. I was like, I can't wait to talk to you because that song was really, I would say was a hit back in our days in our school. Talk to us about that song, how it came about. Take us back 2 years. It was 2007. Take us back in those memories for yourself and for us, the fans. So Beera Nange happened. It was a very organic thing that happened. It wasn't really this thing that we sat down and planned, or let's make like a hit song or that type of thing. Allan and I were in high school for a huge part of our high school days, from S1 to S4, and even after that. And during that time, we were in the band from S2 to S4 actually. and they used to encourage us to write, our own songs. So we came with that background, and even after S4, we kept in touch. So when we finished our, S6 exams, I remember we used to hang out with a mutual friend of ours, and we were all music lovers. We just used to like jamming. And one time I was just like, hey, can we write a song? Because he was producing at the time already, and he had been in studio, and he had, I think, a project out. So I wanted to have that experience as well. I was like, I want a song, So because I had been writing music with him, doing music with him, it just seemed like the next natural step to do a song together. So that's how Beera Nange happened. He created a track. I think he used to do Fruity Loops at the time, and he gave me that track. I remember I was doing my SAT exams when I got that track. He put it on like a CD. And when I should have been studying for my SATs, I was busy writing Beera Nange. So yeah, I wrote the song. He took it to AD, and AD kind of tweaked it to kind of suit because it was a very urban song, but AD sort of tweaked the track. So what you hear is actually AD, and that's how Beera Nange happened.
Yeah.
We went into the studio and we put it down, and the rest is history, really. But yeah.
What did your parents think about it? Because you were in school and now they see their daughter is in music now, so they kuyimba nyimba. What did they think about the project when you came out and started doing song?
I mean, actually, my parents knew that we were recording a song.
Okay.
In fact, I think that very first session that we did for Beera Nange, my parents are the ones who paid for that session. So they knew. But I think for them, they thought it was just like a hobby. I'm just like doing it for fun. She's something I'm doing in S6 VAC, that type of thing. And I don't think anyone expected the song to blow up the way that it did.
Yeah.
So at first it was cool, chill. It wasn't a big deal. In fact, that song did not hit until we got to campus, after we got to campus. So we did the song in S6 VAC, and it started to be known by people when we were already at campus.
Yeah.
So when my parents had it, they were excited. Oh, your song is on radio. Great. I think what happened is that they were not prepared for what came with that, So at first they were super excited, but then after that it was like going to clubs to perform the song, staying out late. You are in school, you should be at campus, but you're in the club. I mean, my parents actually came with me to the club once, the one time we performed the song. So obviously, and you know what it's like there, They were a little bit concerned, and the fact that I was also in university at the time doing law school, they definitely got in my ear and they were like, I don't know. Will you manage that type of thing? They were concerned. Yeah.
No, that's I brought that question because I know every African parent, at least judging from what you could hear.
Yeah.
Like things like that because you started music.
Exactly.
And then when you talk about going to perform the song, staying up late, you say, but it's not really always like that. But that was a very, very beautiful song, and I can't believe at that time what the impact was. You seeing your song played on TV. This morning I had to play it back again to just see it. But the question I want to ask you, when is the last time you actually watched that song on video? The video of that song.
You know what's funny? I had not watched that song in years. But I watched it right before Allan's concert.
Okay.
I don't know. I just decided to watch it. And I was like, oh my God. I had never watched it from start to finish in years. Yeah. So I was just like, oh, we did this at this age. I was just in awe at how different we are now. But at the same time, how like, where did we even get the guts to do this at that time? You know, I don't know. It was just weird.
That is something that I wanted to mention. I listened to that song and then listen to the songs now, and some things have changed from you personally. There's growth. What do you think? What could you mention like has changed from when you produced Beera Nange to what the music you're doing right now?
I think when we did Beera Nange, it was there's so much I did not know, you know, technically when it comes to music. I didn't know anything about sound or vocal tone or technique, nothing. It was just raw talent. I was just singing, you know, and I was being directed. Actually, that song, I was directed. Every little thing was directed. Even that note that you hear, like everything was like directed, like do this harmony, that type of thing. The difference is with the songs that I'm making now, it's like I am such it's a very personal process for me. I know how I want to sound like in the song. When I'm in the studio with the producer, I know, can we reduce the levels here? Can we increase this? So I think the difference is I'm a little bit more, first of all, more emotional in my delivery, the way I sing a song. It might not have the same depth that maybe Beera Nange had, but like the way I sing a song and deliver it now, I sing it from a place of experience. When we did Beera Nange, there was I didn't have any wild experience at all. I was just singing. I don't even know where those lyrics came from, quite frankly. And I don't know what I was thinking. And I didn't even know anything about music. Now I tell the producer, this is what I want. I want it to sound like this. Yeah. And I feel like there's definitely more emotion and more experience behind the music I sing now.
Yeah, for real. And for me as a music lover, and I listen to some of your songs, Beera Nange, you can tell the difference in your sound. The sound is really different. For the better, like it's now like an experienced sound, like the way you sound in the songs you just did. We're going to talk about them, Blessings, Love Later, with the songs you did. You can hear that sound that comes out of those songs, that it's different and it's actually better, and it shows growth that you've earned over the years. I know in the times you might go silent, so like say from 2007 till like when you released Freedonia, what's this album? Yeah, Freedonia in 2020.
Yeah.
But you can see sometimes as fans or listeners, we're like, oh, this silent, but how do they call people who do not release songs in a or something like that?
Faded artist. Yeah,
but
faded.
In that time, when somebody, and this is where when I talk to musicians on the podcast, I think I should be like a music critic. Simani kuyimba, but I just love listening to music. When somebody, and we had this conversation with Ep228 because he took a gap from releasing an album and where it came from. When we love music, we don't know what it takes to produce music. Every day. But when you listen to Beera Nange from 2007 and you listen to Freedonia, the songs that are there, you can tell, if you know music, you can tell that there's been growth. And growth takes a long time. You can't put time on growth. So like if somebody's not releasing music, but if you came back in Freedonia and brought the same sound you had in Beera Nange, then it would be like, but for those people who love music and appreciate it, they can see the time you've put in that time and the work that you've put in to get to where you are today. So for me personally, I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I always tell people that if an artist keeps quiet, you should be scared because they're probably doing something. Yeah. It's like a kid. When a kid is quiet, you get a little worried, like, oh, what is this person doing, you know? So it's the same thing with artists, I think.
Definitely. So before you did Beera Nange, or is there anybody who inspired you to pursue music and to make you get into the music, even to do that song of Beera Nange?
Yeah. I remember when we were in high school, Blue 3 used to come to school, though I actually think it was the first concert I ever attended. Juliana. So I was very inspired by Juliana and Blue 3 here. I also used to listen to a lot of Sierra. I loved Sierra when I was younger. So I used to watch a lot of about East Africa TV,
Yeah,
I
Channel
think it was
5,
East Africa
Channel 5,
TV.
yeah.
Yes, Channel 5. And I'd look at those guys and be like, yo, I want to be like these guys one day. I want to make music like these people. So that's I think subconsciously, I always wanted to do music. And those are the people that I was looking at. You know, Tiwa Savage. Yeah, definitely. Those are the guys that definitely made me want to also be out there creating music.
Yeah, I grew up watching Channel 5. I grew up in a Christian home, so we're not allowed to watch Channel 5. Channel 5, yeah, one of it. But like once in a while you go. So the thing is this, and I think if my parents listen to this podcast, they will laugh. You will go to school and the kids would know these songs of like the Western artists Ngafete to be manye, because for us we have worship songs and it's but then when you go to school you're kind of out of place because these kids are singing these songs with Rihanna, Smanya, Chris Brown, and you don't, so when we go on holidays we put on those Channel 5 and we get that song, so when you go back to school you actually know some of the Western songs. So that's how I got influenced into like just watching and learning this music. It was pretty funny. But when my dad would find me watching, it's like, Katibichibio is saying wow. Like, what did you learn from?
Oh no.
But Lily, you have a quote on Instagram that says, when I have a mic in my hand is probably when I feel the most at home, and ironically the most terrified. Grateful for the gift of music and the people I have connected with as a result. What does that quote mean to you, and where did it come from for you to write it and put it out?
The reason why I said music is that when I have a mic, music, it's when I feel the most at home, is because that's when when I'm singing, that's when I've always felt the most comfortable. I went to law school. I've done everything that I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
The script that they tell you to follow in life. And there is nothing that makes me feel like, yeah, this is it. Like, this is where I'm supposed to be, like music does. I don't question myself. I don't second guess myself when it comes to music. I know it's where I'm supposed to be. I know it comes naturally to me. But it's also the most terrifying because ever since I started to do music and do it seriously, ironically, that's when all my insecurities have come out. So I am not uncertain about music, but like when you're doing something that you really love and enjoy, and it's not maybe the thing that most people would expect you to be doing, you're going to be tested in a lot of ways, Your convictions are going to be tested. When I started doing music again, I found myself having to deal with things that I had kind of brushed under the carpet, like my confidence, my self-esteem. Those are things that I kind of struggled with growing up. And now when you're doing music and you're out there and you're putting, like, music requires you to put yourself out there. You have to create content. You have to go and meet people and talk to people. And that was a little difficult for me at first, and every time you get on the stage and you're performing, there's a certain feeling of vulnerability, Are people going to like this? What if people hate what I'm doing? What if I forget my lyrics? That type of thing. So every time I'm on the stage, I feel the most comfortable, but I also feel the most exposed, Yeah. And when you feel exposed, you're terrified. It's a scary place to be. When it's easy when you're doing something you don't care about, but the more you care about something, the more fear you have, I think. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but the more you care, the more you are likely to be hurt by something. So that's what I meant when I said that. That's what I meant. And of course, doing music, I have met a lot of people. I have connected with people that I otherwise would not have connected with. But also I've connected with myself in a way that I don't think I would have ever connected with before. Music has taught me so much about myself, I've learned a lot of things about myself. Yeah. And
people who listen to my podcast, they know that sometimes I pick out what people say. I read captions, I read quotes, because they resonate with me in some way or the other. And when I'm doing research for my guests, I look at the things they did, they posted, or they said, or from a different interview. And for me, when I read that quote, I don't do music, but I do a podcast. And when I sit down in this chair to talk to somebody, I feel at peace. I feel at home. I feel natural. I feel connected. And I think for me, when I read your quote, I interpreted it in my way that I feel at home when I sit down to talk to people. I've connected with a lot of people. Like I've done over 230 episodes. Those are 230 people that I've met. And every time I record with someone on the podcast, we keep in touch. We stay in touch. We talk. It's like, hey, this. And I appreciate that. I appreciate this podcast for the connection of people. So when I read your quote, I was like, that is great. And that's the same way I feel about it. So that's how I resonated with it. And that's why I picked that exactly to ask you what it means for your journey.
Yeah.
And to relate to that. So I appreciate that.
I'm glad you resonate with it.
Yeah, for real. I am big on quotes. I'm big. Yeah. I don't know. It's not like I take everything too serious or something, but there's some things you connect with. I'm like, that's deep. I like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Your debut album, we already talked about this a little bit. Freedonia was released in 2020. What was the inspiration behind it? And what does this album mean to you?
So Freedonia did not initially start out as an album. I did not intend it to be an album. It is at the start. When I did Freedonia, it was sometime, I think 2019. I think at the time I had like a managerial position, so I wasn't in office as much. I had more time. And that's around that time when I said to get the itch to be back in studio. So I started just recording one song. I did another song. And before I knew it, I realized I had like a bunch of songs because I just kept going. And then when I had it back, when I listened to most of the songs on the album that I had done, because it wasn't an album before, I realized that there was sort of like a theme. Subconsciously, there was a theme. And that was just, those songs are an amalgamation of my experiences during the time I've been out, that I was away, that period from Beera Nange to the time I wrote those songs. So you'll find a song about being a mom, my experience as a mother, falling in love for the first time. You'll see a song about my first love. Actually, a song was inspired by my first love. Then the songs were really just a journey of my life, things I hadn't necessarily processed, but I had gone through. And this album, I guess, was a chance, or this songwriting process was a chance for me to kind of go through all those things and put them down on paper in some creative sense. And that's how Freedonia ended up happening. It's an album about love, really, but different forms of love. So you'll find romantic love, you'll find self-love, motherly love. Like it's an amalgamation of different kinds of love that I've experienced.
Actually, mentioning that you things that you've experienced, I had a question earlier that I was going to ask you, like, what's your songwriting process like? Like, do you start with lyrics? Do you start with a melody, or is it a mood, or is it after you go through something? It's like, I'm going to write this down and make a song out of it. What's the writing process like?
I usually start with the melody. I like to get the vibe first of the song. So I start with the melody. If I like the melody, then I can move on to the lyrics. But yeah, that's how I do it.
That's good. Some people start with the words and then they find the melody of that. So that's why I asked the question, just kind of to see what's yours like. But also when I asked you that this or that, we had the question about collaboration, and you collaboration or solo projects, and you picked collaboration. There's a few people you've collaborated with on some songs, like I mentioned, Love Letter with Timothy, Blessings with Under Music, and big up to Under Music, because Under Music recommended you to be on this podcast. So shout out to you, Under.
Yes.
I had him on the podcast. He's a nice guy, and just talking to him. And actually on this point, I think I messaged him, but I saw a video on the internet that he got robbed his studio, which I feel sorry for that. And it hurts that we have people like that in the world that want to put you back. So shout out, prayers to you, Andy. But back to my question was, you've recently collaborated with Under Music, Timothy, and Unit Original. How do have these collaborations influenced your creative process, and talk to us about each individual of them and the songs you collaborated with them.
Okay, so I did Blessed with Andy Music. Blessed was one of those songs that Andy and I were in a period where we're like, we need to create something. So Andy actually did my first album. He produced and mastered the whole thing. So I really enjoyed working with him, and I wanted to do something with him. He wanted to do something with me together as artists. So that's how Blessed happened. We've done a couple of projects. Blessed is the only one we have actually released. But it's a song that kind of happened in studio. He just played me a track in studio. And I don't like to write songs in studio. I'm the type of person who prefers to just take the track, write at home where no one is seeing me and I'm comfortable. But I had to write this in the studio there and then. And there was an interesting experience. I haven't done that too much. So that was very interesting to do that. I love what we came up with. It was different. I'd never done that before. Yeah. So that's how Blessed is. Blessed is actually a song about manifesting the things that you desire and believing in yourself. You know, I've always believed that it starts in the head, it starts with the mental. Mm-hmm. It's about what you believe. What you believe actually brings about the things that you want. You know, if you believe that something is going to happen, and it helps you set the intention, which brings it into your life even quicker. If you believe you're a nobody, nothing good will ever happen to you, that's exactly what you're going to get. So that's the idea behind Blessed. And yeah, it was just one of those songs that just happened. A dope ass beat. The beat is crazy. The sound is amazing. It was the first time I'd ever written a song in studio. So that's how I loved that. That was a great learning experience for me. Mm-hmm. The other song is Love Letter that I did with Unity Original. Now, that was the first time I had ever worked with Unity. Unity is a dancehall artist, reggae dancehall artist. He's an urban guy, an urban up-and-comer. And the first time I actually heard of Unity, I had a song of his called Barn. I think I first connected with him on Instagram, actually. I loved his song that he had out with a guy called Genesis Chimera. You should check them out. Okay. And I just reached out and I said, hey, I love this track. I love what you're doing. And coincidentally, when he released Barn, I had just released Blessed with Andy. And he had heard that song. And he said, yo, I love Blessed. It's so amazing. So like 2 days later, he just texted me and he was like, yo, can we do something on Instagram? Can we do something together? He sent me a track. This song is amazing. And I think that should sound good on it because he's a dancehall artist, but he has R&B leanings. Mm-hmm. So he wanted to do an R&B song. And he's like, I think you'd be perfect for this song. So Timothy Dillon is the producer. He did that song. He produced that song for us. And that's how Love Letter happened. Love Letter is kind of like a conversation between two people. It's sort of like a confessional in a sense. That's what the song is about. Mm-hmm. But I love it. I love how moody, and it reminds me of like a night drive, that type of vibe, you know? You know the songs you put on when you're driving at night? That's the vibe I get when I listen to Love Letter. What did I learn from Love Letter? I learned that you should not be afraid to try out new things. The first time I did that, that's the first time I ever did like a purely R&B song. I had never done that. Most of the music I've done is a fusion of Afrobeat, Afrocentric vibes, and R&B. This was the first like purely R&B song I'd done. And I was experimenting and I really loved what we came up with. Mm-hmm. The other song that I did was... Yes, Body Re-Up. Body Re-Up which is the one that's been nominated with Script and again Unity. So Script had Love Letter with Unity and I. He loved it and then he reached out and said, can you guys be on my track? And that's how it happened. Yeah. We did Body. We had so much fun in the studio doing that song. Body is basically a song about, you know how guys sometimes approach a girl and it's sort of like, I just want to smash, that type of thing. Yeah. So I decided to write a version like when I was writing my part, how I approached it, I wanted to write something that would kind of be questioning this guy. Like, is that all you want? You know, if you look at the lyrics, you like my body, you like my vibe, like Mona Lisa, my aura divine. But can you hold me down? Like, yeah, I get you want the body, I get you like my vibe. I know I'm all that, but like, is that all there is to this?
Right.
You know, that type of thing. So, yeah, it's kind of like questioning the guy, like, are you here for games or is this like a real thing, you know? So that's why I'm asking, like, I'm not looking for a substitute player. I'm looking for my MVP player. Body Up was one of those songs I really enjoyed writing. It's just a really fun, cheeky song. We had so much fun in studio, and the synergy and chemistry between all of us was really amazing. So
I listened to some of those songs. I listened to Body before because I saw it was nominated, so I listened to that. And then I listened to Blessed when I had Under Music too. It was a really good song. And when I was on your Instagram, I saw a clip of Love Letter. It's really beautiful. And that's what I was talking about earlier, about listening to your voice in these songs and comparing it back to Beera Nange. And that's how I knew the difference in that sound, which was really good. And everybody who is listening, you need to go check them out. And remember to vote Body Re-up. Is it Re-up? Body Re-up?
Re-up,
Body Re-up.
Yep.
Vote for them. It's been nominated in there. The link is on Lilly's Instagram, so go check it out. I have this question. You're the first person I'm asking as an artist, because I was listening to a podcast the other day they hosted Alicia Keys. Alicia Keys was on the podcast and she was talking about her recent album that she released. And she mentioned something that I've had few musicians say on the podcast, like, oh, this song has not, and I'm sure you have songs that the world has not had yet. I'm sure there's songs that artists have we've never had, but they have not released them yet. So Alicia Keys was saying she wrote a song like 13 years ago. It just came out on her recent album that came out 2024. Why do artists do that? Like, so my question, I was listening to that, I'm like, you know, if you're not producing songs, but you have songs in storage, but what is there? Like, because I feel like when you have songs and you're not kind of putting out songs, you kind of put yourself on pressures, like, what is that artists choose to these songs that the world has never had, but they still keep it. Liko Banji was also on here, and she said there was a song they did with Ep228 that the world has not had, but they're waiting for a perfect time to release it. I'm like, just put it out. Tell me about that. Like, what goes behind that you have the music that the world has never heard about?
You know, it's funny, the second person to ask that question this week, and it frustrates people. But I think with artists, first of all, we are perfectionists. So there's a certain vision that you have for your song, you know, and sometimes it doesn't feel like the right time to put out that song. Maybe the visuals you want to do for it, you can't quite get that immediately. Maybe even for financial reasons, maybe there's a certain rollout that you want and you're like, no, if I'm going to put this song out, it has to be like this. It has to come out like this. And if you can't do that, then you're like, no, I would rather hold on to it until I feel like I'm able to roll it out in the way that I feel it will be appreciated the most. So there's that. And then also there's the fact that sometimes we just don't feel like the song is ready. You know, like maybe it needs to be tweaked a little bit here. I think sometimes when it comes to releasing music, a lot of it is also just your intuition. It's like, sometimes you just know this song is ready, it's time to go. Other times it's like you're not completely sure. You're like, katono, you know, maybe I can make it a little bit better. There's a song I have, it's actually one of the songs I think I promoted the hardest this year, Controller. And that song, I sat on that song for I wrote that song in 2021. I didn't release it until 2024. And it went through so many cycles and so many reiterations. We did it so many times because each time I felt like, no, this is not it. I knew it was a good song and I liked the way it sounded, but there was something missing. and I couldn't find the right person to be on the song until finally I worked with Unity, and I was like, this is it. So like that song has like 4 different demos with different artists on it, and none of them worked until then. So I think sometimes it's just a thing of feeling like you're not ready to put it out because the song is not ready, but then also because you feel like you're not in a space to roll it out in the way that you would like to. That's what I think. Because our art is so precious. It's like they are babies. Like they're so precious to us. So like you don't want to send it out into the world until you are proud of it and sure that, I got this and it's going to go out there and it's going to do what I want it to do.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. So I believe you're an independent artist. Are you an independent artist or are you under management?
No, I'm an independent artist.
What are some of the challenges of independent artists? Like, what do you guys have to deal with? Maybe as fans, when we listen to that, we'll learn to appreciate your guys' music better, because for us, some fans don't think about that. They just say, hey, gundi yatadeo luyimba notana tekayo. But we forget that some independent artists go through certain different things than other things. Like some artists who are in this kind of like management or something. What are some of the challenges that you go through as independent artists that other people might not know?
I think one of the biggest challenges I've faced from my own experience is the fact that you have to wear so many hats, because you are the creative, but you're also like you have to know something about the business side as well. Even if you get someone to help you, you need to know that stuff, for yourself. Especially when you're just starting out, it's difficult to wear so many different hats at the same time. Some people have they're able to just concentrate on the creative side only and create. But then when you have to be the creative, and then you also have to be the one you're making songs in studio, but you also have to go and shoot a quick content thing for your song, you have to wear so many hats, and you have to learn so many different things, because you don't necessarily have a big team working with you and telling you do this or let's try this, so that is challenging, and it can be very overwhelming. And I think it means that you bring out work at a slower pace than, let's say, a mainstream artist would. And it's just it can get a little lonely as well, when you have to do so much by yourself, and you're not necessarily working with a team. I think the burnout rate is much higher, you burn out faster. So I think just financially, music is one of those things that you have to have a nice little, buffer of cash, to help you do this video and to do, different things. It's a very expensive venture, I think people think, the other time I was talking to someone and I was telling them, people don't realize the work that goes into just a 3-minute video. People don't realize how much goes into just making a 3-minute music video, You're consuming it and you're watching it and you're having fun, and it seems pretty easy to put together, but there's so many little moving parts, And I think the hardest thing is not having different people to worry about specific things. You have to worry about all of them. Even when you outsource and you have people helping you, as an independent artist, you need to know every little thing, at least a little bit about everything. You need to learn how to make content. You need to learn how to manage your money. You need to learn how to, what happens even before you get a manager. You need to understand, wait, what do managers do? What should I expect from my manager? So I think that's the hardest thing I've faced, is learning the ropes and not having anybody to kind of consult with. You have to be everything, Yeah.
I definitely get that, and I can definitely relate with that because, like, I'm a solo creator here. I know I have a team back in Uganda that helps me produce this podcast, but like as far as here, I am the host, the editor, so I edit all my podcasts and make sure I edit it. So I can definitely relate to some extent as an independent artist, and that's why it makes me appreciate the work that you guys do. I know there's a lot of people who are just out there to judge. Like, hey, you put this, you do that, but they don't know, like you mentioned it, they don't know what goes behind that 3-minute video you put out, a lot of work that you put in to do that. I mean, even if it's not to the level you want it, I'm sure even that person who put it out wants it better than that. But at that moment, that's what they can afford to put out. And they did their best to put out. And with time, they will get better. And with time, they will get more money to make better things. So we need to just have some grace and understanding that sometimes things are a little hard out there. The other question I wanted to ask you was, are there any future projects or collaborations you're working on that we should be looking out for?
I've been working this past year. I have been working on a lot of music. There's a lot of music in the vault that I haven't put out yet. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I don't want to get into specifics about who I'm going to be working with, but there's stuff I've been working on. I just haven't released it. And next year is the year. I was supposed to have released an EP this year, but just what we've been talking about, you're not very happy with the work you're doing just yet. It's not quite there. So I've been taking my time. There's a lot of dope things in the pipeline. And I'm just, looking forward to releasing it next year. So it's going to be an EP. I think the first volume, it's going to be a 2-part EP. So the first volume will be coming out sometime next year. I think early next year.
The other question is, what's your vision of the future of your music, and how do you hope to inspire other people through your work?
When it comes to my music, I don't want to put any limitations on myself. I remember when I was growing up and I used to listen to a lot of artists, I always felt like artists did not push themselves enough to reinvent themselves, or I felt like people put themselves in a little box. They create the same sound over and over again. You find something that works and you just keep doing that. For me, when it comes to my music, I want to just keep exploring and playing and creating whatever it is that piques my curiosity. So I've been working on a lot of dancehall songs as well. Everyone knows me as an R&B artist, but I'm finding ways of blending my R&B leanings with dancehall, So for me, and other genres as well, for me, it's very important to always reinvent myself and to just keep, pushing the limit and see what else I can do, I'm one of the things that I'm very passionate about, and maybe it's because when I was growing up, I didn't feel like I had a lot of room to just express myself and be myself. One of the things that I'm super passionate about is people being who they are and expressing themselves in whatever way they feel that they should do that. And for me, music is one of those things that I definitely use to do that. Like, I don't want to ever limit myself and say I can't do this, or I need to do this type of music, or I need to, say this type of thing in my lyrics. I want to keep pushing. I want to keep playing. I want to keep creating. And I'm hoping that by doing that and people seeing me do that, that people will be inspired to also, do whatever it is that they want to do.
You mentioned something like putting yourself in a box. Like, that's, you have to be open-minded to everything and just continue rediscovering yourself and just go beyond your limits. So I have some fun personal questions and some fun that we're gonna do in this segment. We're done with the hard stuff, so now it's the easy stuff. As we conclude this recording, I don't want DOP to kick us out, and I don't want to take a lot of your time. We've already taken a lot. If you were to collaborate with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oh man, I would say Elijah Chitaka, just because right now he's the artist that I am very into. Like, I love his music. I love everything he's putting out. His pen game is on point.
Yeah.
I think I could learn a lot of stuff from him. So yeah, Elijah Chitaka.
Elijah, who did they? I'm glad to have a friend in Elijah. I've actually I had him on the podcast, and when I was in Uganda,
you had him on this podcast.
Yeah, I had him.
Yeah.
So, and when I was in Uganda, I got to spend some time with him, just him and I, and just talk. He's a great artist and he's amazing. So Elijah, what did they?
He is. Yeah.
Get the job done. What's a surprising little known fact about you that people might not know?
Oh my God. A surprising fact. I don't know if it's surprising, but I'm a really good baker. Like, I bake very well. Like, I love cakes. I love to do pastries. It's actually a side thing I do sometimes, but yeah, I'm pretty good. Oh, and I'm also very good at mimicking accents.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
I grew up listening to Amoti when he was on Simba. Amoti, he can change voices.
I think in another life I was a voice actor.
A voice actor. Just a little bit. What happened with the lawyer? Your lawyer career? Did you just put that on a pause, or did you just forget about it?
It's not on pause per se. I think it's always going to be a part of what I do. Actually, interesting that you're asking that. I am back in school. I'm studying intellectual property specifically, because as an artist, I've found it's something that I need to know. I did not study I did not specialize in intellectual property, even though I did law, but it's something that I'm finding is very, very pertinent to the work I'm doing. And I feel like there's a gap. There's not a lot of people doing copyright law here. And I don't know, my friends are always asking me about like, and I'm looking at how as an artist, how can I make money aside from performances and stuff? Like, I want to get into licensing and all that stuff. And it's important to have all that information and know all those things. And yeah, so I am studying intellectual property, getting back into, I want to see how I can use my law degree to propel and assist my music career, but also other artists around me. So yeah, but I still dabble in it from time to time, but for the most part, I'm a creative and a business person. All
right. So this segment is called Rapid Fire. I'm going to ask you 5 questions. What comes in your head is what you tell us. Okay? It's going to be just quick. Okay. I know some questions you might ask. It's like, oh my God, I've not thought about that. But we're going to try. What's the first song you ever wrote?
I Can Make It. It's called I Can Make It. I was 14 years old.
What's the dream venue to perform at?
ABC, what's this place called? The Coca-Cola Arena? The Coca-Cola Arena? Yes.
What's your favorite Ugandan dish?
Rice and beans.
I like rice and beans. That's my favorite. Actually, it's what...
Yes. People always think I'm weird for saying that, but I love it.
I make that for my lunch at least almost all the time. What's your go-to song when you need an inspiration?
Undeniable by an artist called Yvonne. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's Ugandan. Yeah.
One word to describe your music.
Sensual.
Actually, I'm gonna just it's fun. I'm gonna just add on a little questions. Who is your biggest musical influence?
Mariah Carey.
Favorite collaboration you've done so far?
Body Rap. Wait, is it okay if I say a song that hasn't been released yet?
Yeah.
There's a song I did and it's the best thing I've done. I love it. But yeah, I think Body Up is probably my favorite just because it was so much fun to do and so unlike anything I'd done before.
Most played song on your playlist right now?
A song by Stormzy. Oh girl, you're shining. No, you're my diamond. What's that song? I've forgotten what it's called, but it's one I'm playing. Yeah.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
What's a must-have in your studio session?
Room temp water with lemon.
That was our rapid fire with Lilly Ahabwe. Lilly, I enjoyed talking to you, having a conversation with you. So hopefully this podcast will help your fans to know you a little more, what you've been up to, your music, your journey. So I appreciate you giving me this time and spending this time with me. I'm excited.
Thank you for having me. This has been so much fun. A little bit out of my comfort zone, but it was fun. I enjoyed talking to you, getting to know you, and I hope that people will learn something about me, about, my music, about who I am as a person. And thanks for the opportunity.
No problem. Before I let you go, I have a signature question that I ask my guests. And this signature question is, who would you like to see on this podcast next as a guest? And you're going to help me find that person to be here.
Who would I want on this podcast? Have you interviewed Joshua Baraka yet?
Not yet.
You should, because I'm very curious to know a bunch of things. Like there are things I'm very curious about. So
Joshua Baraka, this is a third person. You're the third person asking for Joshua Baraka.
Really? Yeah, I think his story might be very interesting.
Hey there, my name is Bonnie Chibuka, the podcast host of the Ugandan Boy Talk Show. Thanks for watching and listening to my podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Also, leave a feedback on this podcast, so that's how we grow. Thank you very much and be blessed.
Hey guys, my name is Lilly Ahabwe, and I have just been on the Ugandan Boy Talk Show. We had so much fun talking about my music journey, the genesis of my music from Beera Nange to Controller, and I can't wait for you guys to watch it and see it. I hope you guys enjoy every bit of it and learn something about who I am and what is in store.